This week, some of America's airports were in chaos. ICE did show up after weeks of a DHS shutdown to try and deal with these lines, at least try to help in some way, but the lines kept growing. TSA agents kept disappearing. Congress kept dragging its feet on a deal before the president declared an emergency and ordered those agents get paid. He ordered ICE agents into the airports. They started small, handing out water, helping with crowd control, but now we're told they're taking a more active role in security. That includes verifying IDs, which, according to one MAGA ally, could be a test run for the midterms. I'll let him explain.
We can use what's happening with these ICE helping out at the airports. We can use this as a test run, as a test case to really perfect ICE's involvement in the 2026 midterm election, sir?
Yeah, I think we should have ICE agents at the polling places.
I think it's perfect training for the fall of 2026. Look what happened. They moved everybody along. People get there quick. They vote quick. Maybe every now and again they pull somebody line. Hey, yo, ID? Got an ID?
Essie, is this a good idea to have ICE there checking IDs or standing there armed as people are trying to vote?
First of all, there's no need for that. Our elections in 2024 and 2020 and 2016 were fine. They were secure. They were free and fair. To the stupidity of, imagine you're a TSA agent. You haven't been paid. You haven't been paid because of ICE. Mm-hmm. You're working, and the guy behind you, the ICE agent, is watching you work. He's getting paid, and you're not. The stupidity of this, I couldn't imagine the indignity of being a TSA worker right now with ICE watching you do your job. They're getting paid, you're not. But the big picture problem with this is we should not want a militarized United States with our streets militarized, our voting militarized, our airports militarized. I am so concerned about the North Korea coded stuff that is going on right now. From Pam Bondi unfurling a banner with Trump's face on it on the DOJ building, to Trump putting his signature on our currency and his name on the Kennedy Center, to inviting only friendly media outlets who are going to say exactly what you want into Pentagon briefings. I mean, it goes on and on and on. When did we want to become North Korea? This should be unnerving, disturbing to everyone. This is not partisan. This is scary stuff. So it can feel like a slow creep, and MAGA will justify it using Trump's lie about the election. But look around at your country, people. Is this what you want? You want to walk down the street and see, rifles, guys with guns patrolling because for no reason at all, just to intimidate you? Is that what you want? You want to walk around and see the president's face on the Department of Justice, which is a separate but co-equal branch of government? It's bananas.
I think there are people who do. Like clearly that people who do, I mean, based on the fact alone, and I'm not talking even about the voting numbers, right around the election time, there was a poll that came out and it was listed what are authoritarian actions when it comes to criminalization, arresting people at the border, how rights should work. And 40% of Americans picked the actions that are considered authoritarian, right? There is a strain in our country that wants to feel powerful and strong with a gun because they assume it's not going to be directed at them.
Well,
that's
right.
what I think is a dangerous
part. They have all the right enemies.
Yeah.
So they're Team MAGA because MAGA has all the right enemies. But it's not just going to be
stop there.
Trained on your enemies. At some point, it's going to come back on you, and that's what people don't realize about the slip of authoritarianism.
Down to earth.
It is
the North Korea
creep.
comparison's a little extreme, considering
No, it's not.
80+% of Americans say yes, you should have IDs at the poll site.
It has nothing to do with ICE.
Which obviously means that someone should be checking your IDs. But you know what does have something to do with ICE? You mentioned armed guys at polls. You know what happens every single year? You mentioned the 2016 election, 2020, 2024. There are armed guys at every poll. They're called police officers. They're in every single poll site here in New York City.
And that's their job and what they're trained to do. ICE is customs enforcement at the border.
They have no business there.
What point stipulated?
And you know that.
Steve Bannon is a provocateur, right? He's doing what he's doing because we talk about crazy stuff he says on CNN, and then more people watch his show. That's why he does this. However, the idea of voter ID and someone checking that ID is still wildly popular with Americans.
It's a straw man. You can have that without ICE.
And to correct one more mistake you made, you said that TSA agent is mad at ICE because ICE is getting paid. No, they should be mad at Democrats for dropping funding and causing this crisis.
Well, they are. They're not mad at ICE. Yeah. They're annoyed that ICE is getting paid to watch them do the
I
job.
I should buy them coffee.
They're not
ICE
getting
agent,
paid
if you're in
for
the
it.
airport, you're an ICE agent, you should buy your TSA colleagues.
That's really going to solve everything.
Yeah, great.
That's what they want.
Help them out.
Free coffee.
Come on.
Wait a minute. Let's be clear that TSA isn't just mad at Democrats. They are mad at Democrats. They are mad at
Oh, yeah.
Republicans. They are mad at Trump.
And they should be.
And we're also hearing from people in lines every single day. One of our reporter in Atlanta, which is the busiest airport in the world, Ryan Young, has been talking to people every day. And every day, they're just mad at Congress and the president. They just want this fixed.
When a party causes a shutdown, we typically blame that party for doing that. This is a Democrat. This is the second time in the Trump presidency.
But what I'm
this is a
telling you
Democratic
is that's
owned-
not how people are seeing it.
I'm not saying
not
that.
looking at
This
this
is
quad.
It's not even
this is
true.
a-
Okay, so you know what people are clearly
Democrat
seeing?
owned and operated
$550 million a day. Right? Oh, so no, that's actually even worse. $550 million is a social media number of what they make a day. The billions of dollars a day it is costing in Iraq. Like how quickly that has spread is, oh, we have money for war when we
Wait,
need
are
it.
you happy Trump's paying
We
them?
have-
Are
we
you
have-
happy
we have-
President Trump
we
signed the
have-
executive order? Is that a good thing?
I think that's a great thing.
All right, good.
I think, and you know what? Because
Yeah.
that's actually
It's
Trump recognizing that this is going to be a pain point for him. The fact that 400 TSA agents have quit, that this is a huge customer service, like American pocketbook issue. When people like you and me are making decisions to drive 11 or 15 hours rather than take the flights that we scheduled for our families, that's real.
And paid for.
Right, and paid for.
First, ICE at the airports, one thing we learned in the giant ramp up of ICE personnel is the training was lacking. And that's not just liberals saying that. Law enforcement that worked with them were saying these guys are amateurs and they need more training at their jobs. These aren't even their jobs. And so we're asking them to do this. And about them at the ballot box, I covered an election in Russia once. And there were armed guards at every election station. And they were watching everybody come in and made sure who everybody voted. I don't want to live in that country.
No.
But you
and
live,
I don't
do you
think
live in
most
New York, Terry?
Americans-
That's what,
Okay,
when
No,
you
I'm
walk
talking
into the
about
polls,
there were local
you see
police.
it.
These were federal
if you ask
soldiers.
if you
These
ask a
were
local
soldiers.
Democrat here, one of the Mamdani coalitions, they'll tell you that NYPD is ICE and fascists and dictators.
I'm
too.
not saying
I'm
that.
just saying.
I'm not
you
saying
walk
that.
into-
Straw man. You don't even have to
I'm
bother.
not saying that. I'm
It's-
not talking
it's
about
not a real
communities.
argument.
It is a real argument.
It's not.
So one guy with
communities.
ICE is
Yes.
police is
Federal
ICE is
government.
different than the
The
NYPD.
entire U.S.
As a
national
Republican,
security
wait.
structure is
First of all,
built on that difference.
wait.
There's what, 3,000 ICE agents? There's 40,000
Yeah.
polling sites?
As a Republican, you want the federal government to send federal law enforcement agents or troops, as has been suggested, to the states to govern their
Personally,
elections. That is
no,
like
I will
Putin's
consider-
Russia.
First
That
of all,
is
there
like
isn't
Putin's
enough.
Russia.
There isn't enough. There's more NYPD officers alone than the FBI, right? And they're the largest federal law enforcement agency. So it's not going to happen. This is why this is a Steve Bannon exercise in getting us to talk about him so more people listen to
Well,
us.
Donald
Hold
Trump-
on a second.
No,
He's not the only one saying it. DHS Secretary Mullin did not rule out sending ICE to the polls. Let's let you listen to what he said.
The only reason why my officers would be there if there was a specific threat for them to be there, not for intimidation, then we will work with local law enforcement. There'll be a reason for us to be there, and it'll be known why we're there.
So he's not ruling it out. He's saying if there's a threat. I mean, a threat could be a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And I guess the question is, why ICE?
That's a
Why
big
not-
different than
why ICE?
what Steve Bannon was saying on a radio show.
It is
That's a
different.
large
But
difference,
why
right?
why ICE? Why use ICE? There are other agencies that could be used. Not that anyone wants to see people with, guns just standing there
But
watching you
just
go in and out.
Play out Mark Wayne Mullin's theory. If there is a reason, meaning someone called, there's some illegal immigrant present at a polling site and they get a call for that, why is it a problem that ICE show up there? To use his own format of what he's saying would be the conditions of ICE going to a polling site. Why is that wrong?
I don't
have
think
no
that was his
expertise.
condition. I don't think
He
that
said
was
if
the
there is a
condition. He
specific
said a
reason for
threat.
us to be there,
Yeah, he
a
said
threat or a reason, obviously this is what ICE does. ICE goes after people who are here illegally. If they have some issue related to their course of business, why would we not want them to poll sites?
I am haunted by a memory, of December 2020 in the Oval Office when Donald Trump demanded that the military, the National Guard, be called out in each of the 7 swing states that he had lost and supervise a re-election, hold an election again under, like Putin's Russia, the eyes of federal troops. That's in him. And anybody who pretends that's not in him doesn't know him.
All right, we're going to leave it there.